What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. And we have some good news coming from the Democrats and the White House in this video regarding the second stimulus check. But first, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. My wife and I do all the research for you every single day so we can bring you all the information regarding the stimulus checks, the unemployment extension, and related news every single day in a quick, concise video. And don't forget to smash the like button for us down below. It really helps out our channel. House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer, who we haven't been hearing that much from because he's under Nancy Pelosi and he's not one of the two negotiators for the Democratic team, has just released a new outline of what the path forward is for the Democrats to get more stimulus passed. And it's actually pretty good news because it sounds like they still are trying to push to get a new stimulus package passed coming from the Democratic side. What Steny Hoyer is saying is that they are going to come up with a proposal within the next few days. This will probably be early next week. The Democrats are going to come up with a proposal that the Democrats are for and the Democrats want. They're probably going to come down a little bit from where they are right now with the $2.2 trillion. And then what they're going to do is that they're not going to make the mistake that both the Democrats and the Republicans have made before, is they're not going to just make a bill and then vote on it. What the Democrats want to do this time is they want to come out with a bill that all the Democrats are going to be for because, if Nancy Pelosi is for it, all the Democrats follow, or at least a lot of them, I should say. A lot of Democrats are building pressure against her, but the Democrats are going to release a bill, and then what they're going to do instead of voting on it, they're going to go to the President Donald Trump, and get his approval before they vote on it. The reason this is if you've been paying attention, President Donald Trump almost every single day is basically saying, we need to pass more stimulus. We need another stimulus package. We need to do it now. He knows he needs to do this before the election. And he's hinted at before, actually more than a hint, I should say, he blatantly said that if Congress can't approve this, that he's going to try to pass the stimulus checks through a presidential executive order. And the money is already there. There's already $300 billion sitting there in a fund earmarked from the first stimulus package. So the Democrats look like they still want to pass a bill before the election, and they don't want to have the president get all the credit for it by passing it through a presidential executive order. So it looks like we could have a new bill proposal, a new stimulus package within the next few days from the Democrats, and then they're going to basically go over the Republicans' heads and get President Donald Trump to approve it. And with the support of President Donald Trump, they think they can get this passed between the Republicans and the Democrats. I personally think they will if they get President Trump to approve it. And I also think at this point that President Donald Trump is growing more and more antsy, maybe desperate. What's the word here? You guys can let me know the best word. But I think the president is willing to do almost anything at this point to get a stimulus check and unemployment extension out before the election. So I think as we get closer, as the days have been going by, the president has been growing more and more antsy to get this passed. Just in the last day or so, President Donald Trump, unbeknownst to other Republicans, has said in a public tweet that he wants Republicans to go for a larger stimulus package, basically to give the Democrats what they want. The White House is signaling a renewed interest in negotiations with Congress over the next virus stimulus relief package after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi vowed to keep the House in session until a deal with Republicans and the administration is hammered out. President Donald Trump on Wednesday urged Republicans to embrace a larger virus stimulus relief package, seemingly stepping on the Republicans with a more conservative approach, as the two parties struggle over getting the next agreement done. President Donald Trump said that Democrats are heartless. They don't want to give stimulus payments to the people who desperately need the money, and whose fault it was not of their own that the plague came in from China. He says, go for much higher numbers, Republicans. It all comes back to the US, anyways, one way or another. President Donald Trump is also warming up and seems in favor of the Problem Solvers Caucus bill, which is a bipartisan bill from both Democrats and Republicans, and actually includes 2 stimulus checks and also 2 unemployment extensions. I honestly think this is a very good strategy for actually both Republicans and Democrats. I think if the Democrats do come out with a new bill, and it includes stimulus checks and an unemployment extension update and the PPP money for small businesses and small business employees to protect their checks, and the Democrats come out with this bill and then go to the president for support, I think the president is going to say yes at this point to almost anything they can. And if the Democrats are coming out with a new bill proposal, I think they're going to come down at least a little bit from what they want before, because I don't think they're just going to say, hey, here's our $2.2 trillion proposal. I think they'll come down at least a little bit to maybe $2 trillion. The president has already said that they're willing to do $1.3 to $1.5 trillion. And if you look into what the president's been saying over the last several days, he's telling Republicans to go for more, spend more money, which is basically saying give the Democrats what they want. It all comes back to the United States anyways. So if they pass a $2 trillion bill from the Democrats, the president's going to say yes. It's going to have an unemployment extension. It's going to have stimulus checks, money for small businesses. The only thing the president doesn't really like in there is the money for states and cities. The Democrats know that, but the Democrats are very eager to get money passed for states and cities, of which the president says are Democratic states and cities that basically need bailout money. So the president is willing to spend money on that, but he doesn't really want to spend $1 trillion. Now, in that bipartisan bill from the Problem Solvers Caucus, there was $500 billion in there for states and cities. That's a middle ground that I definitely think the president would be okay with. I think at this point, the president's just going to say okay to anything that the Democrats put in front of him. And I think he's trying to get his other Republicans on board. Typically, the Republicans have been wanting to spend a smaller amount for the stimulus package because basically they just want to cut out the money for states and cities that they say goes to Democratic states and cities. So the Republicans want everything else like stimulus checks, unemployment extension, money for small businesses, money for schools. All that stuff puts them at around $1 trillion. Okay, so if they are willing to go to $1.5 trillion or even more, there is money in there for the Democrats to get money for their states and cities of probably around $500 billion. They could still do that and be at $1.5 trillion or maybe even $2 trillion, and that would be enough to get a deal between both sides and to get an agreement. Once they have an agreement from both sides, they will be able to pass this stimulus package within like 24 hours and have it on the president's desk the next day. When they get the agreement, this is all going to happen very, very fast. And just like when the first stimulus package came and they had the agreement from both sides, the House approved it, the Senate approved it, and then the president approved it. It was all done within like 48 hours. So it will be very fast when this happens. And Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said that this time around, the checks will go out even faster because they know what to do and they're prepared because they just did this a few months ago from the first stimulus check and the stimulus checks they've been sending for people that kind of had delays and stuff. They've been sending their stimulus checks since then. So they know exactly what to do to send these stimulus checks out even faster, and they want to get them out before the election. President Donald Trump was also pretty upset over one of what his own scientists said about the vaccine not being until 2021. President Donald Trump again contradicted his own health officials' virus statements, this time on the importance of mask wearing and the timing for a vaccine. Dr. Robert Redfield, the director of the CDC prevention, said Wednesday that masks may be a more effective protection against the virus than any potential vaccine that the president can't stop hyping. And he laid out a timeline for when the general US public could expect to start seeing results from a widespread virus vaccine, that it wouldn't be until the second or third quarter of 2021. President Donald Trump said that Robert Redfield was confused about what he was saying and misunderstood the statement. The president is trying to push to get a vaccine out before the election, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to have to push very hard and move very quickly if they want to get this election out or this vaccine out within the next 30 days. I just don't think that's going to happen. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below. There's also a lot of people that are very concerned about how fast they're pushing to get this vaccine out, of which President Donald Trump calls this vaccine Operation Warp Speed. And it is a little bit scary that they're trying to get a vaccine out through warp speed, where the next quickest vaccine ever produced by the United States was the mumps vaccine, and that took 4 years to get that vaccine out and properly test it and see the long-term effects. With them pushing to get this vaccine out in under 6 months, they basically have done no testing at all on what long-term effects could be, or if there will be any at all. Let me know down below in the comments if you are going to take the vaccine as soon as it comes out. If it does come out this year, if you're willing to take the vaccine right away for you and your family. I'm very interested to know, because it's definitely something that me and my wife are considering for us and our 2-year-old son, Julian. It's definitely like you want to get the vaccine, but you also like don't want to be, or at least we don't want to be the first ones in line. But even if you wait a month or two, I mean, I don't know if you're going to see any long-term effects there, if there are any, or if you should basically just take it and hope for the best. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I would love to know them. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button if you haven't yet, so you don't miss out on new videos. We typically have new videos coming out at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can click on these videos to watch my newest stimulus check videos next. And this video teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon FBA. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income, and I teach them how to do that. Click on one of those videos to watch them next. Thanks, and I will see you in the next video.